coming up.
That's why it's also important, especially for us being women of color. We pay our insurance, we pay co-payments, we pay doctors. So we go in there and tell them what we need, not just only go in there and have them telling us what we need or what it may or may not be. Look, I need you to run all these tests so that I can be okay with, you know what I'm saying, the final prognosis, diagnosis, whatever it is that you're going to give me. But it's just extremely important to be in tune with our bodies. Because also, Janae, like you said, it could be just something internal within us. Like, we at this age in life, like, I don't want to be complacent here. Is it a mood issue, or is it that I'm complacent, or like what's going on? And I think when we start with going to get the right prognosis, diagnosis for whatever it is for our body, when we start with that, then we can start doing like a process of elimination, right? Like if there's nothing medically that can be determined as to what's going on with me, then I can start taking inventory on me and my personality.
I got my friends, they laugh when I'm not that funny. Don't try to make me be somebody. Cause if they did, then they're not my friends. Don't care if I'm crying first.
Episode 6, part 2, picking up where we left off.
I have literally been kind of where I feel like I'm in such a rut, so to speak, right? And I know a part of it is the mental piece. Greg and I were out of town this weekend, and I was having a conversation. I was like, babe, I feel like I felt like when I was 30 years old. And I just remember just being in this unhappy place, and I couldn't quite understand. And I thought like it was a routine of like trying to make the donuts. Like, get up, you do these things, you go back, you get up, you do these things. And I told him the other day, I was like, babe, I feel like I'm just in a weird space right now. But I don't know if that's perimenopause, or I don't know if it's something else. Right. And that's the piece where I'm trying to, because the first thing I start to do is, like I said earlier, I'm checking everything. Like, where's your vitamin D level? Is there something that could be triggering this? I'm checking all those things, and it's none of that. So now I'm trying to figure out, what is it? Is it that, and I was attempting to say this earlier, is it that sometimes I struggle with complacency, right? And I feel like if I'm not doing enough, if I feel like I just don't feel like my life has any purpose that I can truly see, I feel like that starts to impact me differently. So is it that, or is it really perimenopause? And that's the part right now where I'm trying to figure out, like, what is triggering you to feel the way that you feel now? Because I don't want to start just being busy, right? I don't want to start just doing some things. I don't want to start when it could be hormonal. It could be something else. Keisha, I never heard of the hormone panel, so that may be something that I check into. But I am in the space of, okay, Janae, why are you feeling the way that you're feeling emotionally right now, mentally? I'm still trying to reconcile that. So I don't know if it's perimenopause, or I don't know if it's something else. I don't know what that is, but definitely something is going on beyond me having mood swings.
So it sounds like everyone, I guess we can see this, everyone is going to experience it differently. And so that's what what I'm getting from just the five of us talking, is that there's going to be different symptoms for everyone. And it's just a matter of figuring out, does it fit in those boxes? So it's not like a matter of, okay, if I haven't checked all 10 of the boxes, I'm not. It's just that these are the ways it's affecting your body.
Right.
And so not discounting if your symptoms are not like someone else's symptoms, it doesn't mean something isn't going on.
But can you be misinterpreting it though? Like, could I be thinking it's perimenopause? That's the part where I'm trying to figure out. Can I be thinking, oh, it's perimenopause, or and it could be something else, right? And so now I'm attributing it to the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's the part, because it could be the hot flashes. I don't know if that's the only time you have hot flashes. I don't know if that's the only time you have weight gain. I don't know if that's the only time you go through mood swings. So it's the opposite of, like, could I be attributing it to something, thinking it's something else as well?
That's a good
But you know what? I think that's why it's so important to pay attention to what's going on with your body, from the mental aspect to the physical aspect to what's going on inside, because there are other conditions that resemble some of the same symptoms as menopause. You can have thyroid issues. You can have adrenal issues. It could be so many other things, because just like we said, we all experience it different. Your hair could be thinning. There's so many other conditions that's causing your hair to thin. excuse me, the weight gain, the high flashes, they can all be symptoms of other things. And I think that's why it's also important, especially for us being women of color. We pay our insurance, we pay co-payments, we pay doctors. So we go in there and tell them what we need, not just only go in there and have them telling us what we need or what it may or may not be. Look, I need you to run all these tests so that I can be okay with, you know what I'm saying, the final prognosis, diagnosis, whatever it is that you're going to give me. But it's just extremely important to be in tune with our bodies. Because also, Janae, like you said, it could be just something internal within us. Like, we at this age in life, like, I don't want to be complacent here. Is it a mood issue, or is it that I'm complacent, or like what's going on? And I think when we start with going to get the right prognosis, diagnosis for whatever it is for our body, when we start with that, then we can start doing like a process of elimination, right? Like if there's nothing medically that can be determined as to what's going on with me, then I can start taking inventory on me and my personality and what God got for me in this season of my life. Like, God, is that you? Because one of the things I will say is I kept waking up what I have recently discovered is called the fourth hour, where God is waking up because he needs to communicate with you. And we know that God has a way of doing things. So maybe I'm going to give her a flash or a nudge, but I need her to be up in communication with me, in praying with me. And that's sometimes I have to decide, okay, God, is that you? I never forget 2 weeks ago, I kept waking up like that. And I'm like, all right, God, if this happens one more time, if this happens tomorrow and I wake up at the same time, I'm getting up, I'm going to get in my word, and I'm going to have some time with you. I never forget, I woke up the next morning and I had my head turned and my clock is like straight ahead. And I'm like, all right, is this you, Lord? And I turned, and it was at the very time that I asked, Lord, if it's you, you'll wake me up at this time again. And then the next week, y'all, I did not wake up at that time, but I was intentional with waking up to have time with him. So it's just so many factors that can play into what's going on with us. It may not be anything that we understand in this realm, because it could be within the spiritual realm too, right? So we have to just know ourselves. I think it's important that we start doing this when we're young. That's why I think this conversation is important, to educate some of the younger women that haven't gotten to this point to experience this. And even women that are here and maybe they haven't experienced it, but maybe they're going through the same things like us, like, what is going on with me? You know, it could be so many things. So this conversation is extremely important. I just remember, this is the something else too, right? Is the perimenopause, the menopause, and something else. We know something's going on, but nobody can tell us what it is. So we have to dig deep. Our health is important as we're younger, but it's extremely important now because it's an indication of so many things. So
and so many people. So how do you know what questions to ask? Like, Keisha, how did you know to go ask for the hormone panel, right? How do you know? Because to me, you can go in. So I always believe you have to be an advocate for your own health, right? So a lot of times, we go out there, we start to hit Google, like, what is going on?
Yep.
You're having conversations, we're self-diagnosing. But how do you know? Because it's not until I have conversations with other people that I'm like, oh, I need to ask my doctor about that. Or I'm researching something and I come across something. But how do you know what questions to go in and ask your doctors, what conversations to have?
For one, I will say that when I started, like, some of the symptoms, for one, and truthfully, I prayed and like, God, something's going on, like, help clarify. Then I talked to a couple friends, but then I messaged my doctor and I said, I'm feeling kind of off. Because I just had my physical not too long ago. But so I knew the big things that they test for annually, which is another big deal, is, getting your annual checkups. And so I knew it wasn't anything big, but I just messaged her and I'm like, I'm feeling kind of off. I'm right around that menopausal age. And she said, this is something for an in-office visit. Let's talk. And so that's when I was talking. So one of my friends had already mentioned something about, a hormone panel, but I wanted to kind of have the conversation with her. And she was like, yes, we'll do a panel. But what I will say with that is she also checked for other things. And the reason I was feeling so run down is because my vitamin D was woefully low, like significantly low. And so she wound up giving me a prescription for that. So that attests to what Anita said, as far as it could be a plethora of things. So once they discovered that, I was Lord, I thank you. I thank you that I had medical insurance. I thank you that I had the foresight to ask. I thank you. So then you start just appreciating how he is opening your eyes and helping you see it. And so I will say with that is, as we go through this transition, don't leave God out of it. Like he made these bodies, so he knows these bodies. And so he is our biggest teller. And so I don't think that I stumbled on that. I don't think it was a coincidence. It helped me understand things better. So it was just a matter of talking to people and then talking to my doctor, but not just, not staying at one thing. And it can seem overwhelming because once I really started looking into it, oh my gosh, menopause is whoa. But we got to face it.
So I heard that we have to start taking care of our bones now too, because estrogen, as it goes down, it impacts our bones and they get all weak or fragile.
Yeah, I was 5'7.5". I weighed in, I'm 5'6".
Wow.
Yeah. Another one of the symptoms is joint pain too, muscle pain, aches, and perimenopause. And
I've been having this pain in my elbows, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm not working out. Y'all, I'm not working out. So I'm like, what is going on?
It could be. And just to circle back to process of elimination, like Anita was saying, I've suffered for the last 20 years from having really heavy cycles. It's not unusual for me, and I call it hemorrhaging, for more than 20 days, So that's something that I've had to struggle with all of my life, and I've always had severe anemia. But I recently had an episode to where I had a panel done. My hemoglobin was low, my vitamin D was low, and I was just feeling off. And I hadn't had a cycle for like the last 2 months. So I'm like, okay, I'm good as long as I don't get one. And Lord, I got one, and I just went downhill from there. So normally I would just have ignored that and just went through it. But because I was already in a state of being weak and fatigued, I didn't ignore it. And I did seek medical care. And that was important because if you get to a certain level, and dialysis is what I believe the situation that you went through, once you get to a certain hemoglobin level, that can be life-threatening for people who have severe anemia. And if you don't seek medical care to get the blood that you need, or maybe an iron infusion, you may not be here. So pay attention to your bodies, listen to, what it's telling you, and seek care. Just make sure you're talking to other friends and your medical provider so that you're not ignoring stuff, because it could end up being something else that could potentially harm you. And menopause, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world, even though it might feel like it for us. But these other issues that we deal with too, once we get to this stage, can cause us to feel just all kinds of off. Because I can't remember my name some days. I have brain fog so bad, where I'm sitting here looking or reading something, and I'm like, what is this saying? I have to read it 4 or 5 times. And that's alarming to me, because I used to pride myself on being sharp. In the last 6 years or so, I have not been sharp. So I'm like, what is happening to me? Am I fading away? Do I have early dementia? And not to make light of that, but it's something that the women go through in my family too. So talking about it, my mom and I don't talk about this stuff. She doesn't typically talk about her medical history, but I do know that she has some things that she struggled with, and more than likely it's a genetic thing for me. So process of elimination is very important. Ask for those tests.
I have a question. When you guys started feeling this way, did you first start by saying, because I think we all pretty much have lived busy lives, and it's like, you know what? I'm just doing a lot, with the kids, I'm working, I'm doing things in church. So it's just, I'm doing a lot. There's nothing really wrong, and I think that is where sometimes we can fall, short of not really listening and thinking, oh, it's just because I'm doing a lot.
Yep, I thought it was stress for me. Like I'm just too stressed with work and everything, so it must be my stress level. So I just had to relax and But what about does it impact or kill your sex drive, y'all? Like you mentioned earlier, Keisha, that you have, it's not just us going through it; our husbands are going through it too, and this will impact them.
Oh, he's gonna kill me. Okay, so I'm gonna start by saying, I think,
we're gonna talk
this
about
is what
the
I
big
mean by
one.
everybody's symptoms are different.
Yeah,
because I went the opposite direction. Like he is like, you are about to kill me. Like, what are you going through? And but you have friends who are like, oh my gosh, I'm dry. It hurts. I got to reapply,
Mm-hmm.
lubricants and and I'm like, oh, I'm on the other end, and not like there's something wrong, but that's what I mean by our bodies are just
Yeah.
so different. And it could be just a matter, it could be a matter of maybe my estrogen. Like, I don't know the medical terms. I'm not trying to do that. Maybe it's something with one of my hormones where I haven't gotten there. And that was something I'm going to pray about. But so with me, it didn't affect me negatively,
Mm-hmm.
but it's opposite
Yeah.
for me.
So it depends. So it's not like
Yeah.
one fits all.
Right.
Yeah,
From my
same
friends,
here.
people
Because
are like, yeah.
when you go through all the symptoms, to your point, Keisha, I went in the opposite direction too. But when you go through and you see these are some of the symptoms that somebody could have, I don't necessarily, and it could be the phase that I'm in, it could be the stage,
Yeah.
of what I'm experiencing. But I have talked to individuals and they had the other side, the dryness, the diminishing of their drive. Mine has not showed up that way. I think, like I said before, my biggest indicator has been the night sweats, some of the mood swings, and maybe the weight. And that's what I'm attributing to perimenopause, right? But it has not been on the other end. That has not been my experience.
And I have a question for y'all, and tell the truth. Okay, y'all had these night sweats, right? Because like when I had a night sweats, like I'm dripping. All right. When you had a night sweats, I be so tired. I get up, I go get a towel. I lay that towel down and I'm going back to sleep. Like, like how do you deal with it? Like, because once you're wet and you like, what are you doing? Like, you get up, take a shower and all that.
Oh
Because I'm
no.
tell you, I don't. I'm tired.
No, ma'am.
Look, get that towel and lay it on down.
Yeah.
So I've only had one time that I was soaked like that. Most of the time, it's just been kind of like in the back, like the nape, like my neck and the lower part of my hair. So typically, what I've done was, what I've been told to do, because I'm a person that likes to sleep with covers, is put my feet out of the cover. And then sometimes I'll take my bonnet off, like whatever I have on my hair. And to me, that seems to give me some relief. But I think only one time had I've just woken up where I've been drenched or significantly soaked. But most of the time, it's just like, it's like in my head, like my hair, like all that's kind of like wet, but not like full body. So
Yeah.
I just make sure like throw my feet off, throw the covers off my feet, take the bonnet off my head and turn over and keep it moving.
Yeah. It's
a
same for me. So I usually just stick like one leg out, like my whole leg has to be out. And then my hair, I have to just put it up. And it kind of cools me off. And then, yeah, I still, because I'm sleepy. Like these hot flash will wake you up, right? But I don't want to get up. So,
yeah.
Girl,
And so,
you
Dallas, to your point though earlier, and what Nita was saying earlier is I had started waking up between like the 3 and the 5, right? And for me, I was having the night sweats and I was like, hey, God, I kept thinking, is this the night sweats? And then I ended up coming across something about Miles Monroe when you get up between 3 and 5. So when I started having the night sweats, I started getting up as an invitation from God, and I would just get up now. I don't know if it's the night sweats that's waking me up. I don't know if it's the Lord waking me up, but I get up, I go in the other room, I pray, I praise, I have some God time, but I wasn't having that before. So even if it is a night sweats, I feel like it is a benefit on that end because I'm getting up and I'm having some true God time. But like I said, I don't know if that's the Lord drawing me. I don't know if that's the perimenopause.
Kudos to you and Nita, because I get a towel and I'm turning over.
Right. I mean, I will say this. I mean, that is a good way to use that time, right? If you know that God is waking you up, or using that time to just connect with Him, right? God is gonna use any type of way to wake you up, right? But in the past, when He has waken me up, it has not been with hot flashes. I'm like right awake. It's like wake up, right? So it's different. It's for me anyway. So it's different for me. But I mean, I don't see it. It is definitely beneficial. Like if I'm already up or I can go to sleep. I mean, God, it's you talking to me, and is it at the same time every night? You know, I always look at the clock when I get these things, right? And it's not at the same time every night necessarily, right? So, and I'm hot. Like I know it's, well, to me, it's not God. Might be the devil, but to me. But I mean, there have been times that I pray, like I'm just gonna, and sometimes I try to go to sleep. When he's God and I try to go to sleep, he wake me back up. Like I know, well, when it's him. And I'll obey and listen, like, okay, God, what you got for me? I'm awake.
And I'm with you with that, or Dallas.
Knowledge.
Like if he wakes me up like in the night or something, he usually wakes me up and there's something specific that immediately comes to my mind.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, like this, it could be a child of mine. And they are and it's like, okay. All right. So normally I'm with you. If it's one of those, there's something. But yeah, a hot flash. Ooh, a hot night sweat.
I haven't experienced the night sweats, but I will say, when I was waking up, the hot flashes happen all throughout the night. I don't care what time it is. I could have just gone to sleep and 30 minutes later, a hot flash and hit me, and I feel it in the roots of my head. Like, that's where my hair be sweating at. So like Janae, that's why the natural life wasn't for me, because I would wake up and there was no way I could look like what I looked like the day before after the flash. So I had to give up that life. In regards to hearing from God, when I have waken up and it's been around the hot flash time, like you said, it still has been some specific, but I felt it within me, like it's time to get up. Like it's not just the hot flash. This is the time you're waking up and you hot, but go ahead and get up. But one thing I do want to mention that, like, what I'm hearing is, for one, it's important to have a good doctor too, because Keisha, I listened to you when you said you emailed your doctor and was able to have a conversation. I've never had a doctor where I've communicated via email to have a conversation, but I do have a good doctor where if I call them and say, hey, this was going on, they know me well enough. They know me by first name when I get in there. They know me of like, to be like, yeah, I needed something ain't right about that. So that's extremely important. It's also extremely important to have community, because you have to have some women to talk about this with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad we do have this space for this podcast, but this is an area that I think a lot of women suffer in silence, and not suffer in silence because of the hot flashes or the symptoms from menopause, perimenopause in itself, but what it does to us, our image, our self-esteem, like it does more than just the symptoms of the issue, right? Gaining weight it's not fun when it's not something that you desire. Some of our husbands may be like, no, that's good. It's going in the right places. But even if it is going in the right places for them, if that's not something we desire, it could truly affect us mentally, right? Our hair thinning, we ain't trying to lose hair as we get older, or even hair growing in places that it never grew in before. We losing it in places we need to be keeping it, and growing in places where it shouldn't be showing up, right?
Don't forget the change in color.
Right, that too. And our height changing, the how it affects our bones, like just the calcium, everything. And I think I'm just saying this to say, like, ladies, stay in community with other women. Like, we shouldn't suffer in silence. We are all going through the same thing, maybe not to the extreme as others, but this is extremely important. Or you may just feel like you are losing yourself and about to go crazy when it's just a part of being a woman and what we're going to go through. And it's temporary too, right?
Yeah.
It's temporary. So I just wanted to put that out there as I'm listening to you guys talk. Like, I'm so happy I have a community of women, rather be this podcast or whatever it is, where I can communicate and communicate accordingly.
And I would say with your doctor,
I'm sorry, is good. We can laugh through it like we've been doing, but don't laugh at it because it's not funny. It's real.
Yeah.
So we can laugh through it and make the jokes, but don't laugh at it, especially if you see someone else who's really going through it. It's not a joke. And, again, I wish I would have known that sooner, but just know the balance in that.
Yeah. And I would say, going back to the doctor, like, shop around, right? So I had a doctor that for years that I was extremely comfortable with. Like, she would warm the room up when I would come. Like, she knew I had been with her for so long, and then she retired. And I've gone through 2 or 3 that I just they weren't meeting my needs. They just were not showing up like the way that I thought they should have. And so I was not afraid to be like, it's a no for me. And to try somebody different. This last person I went to, I feel like I was comfortable with the nurses. I was comfortable with the staff. I was comfortable with the time that she took to have a conversation with me. But I would definitely say shop around. Like, don't feel like if a doctor or a physician or somebody is not meeting your needs, like find somebody else. Ask other folks, who are you talking to? Because I think that was one of the struggles for me. I probably went a year without getting the care that I needed because I just could not. For one, I was upset that mine had retired, right? I had just been with her for so long. And to me, it's such a personal experience that I really wanted to find somebody who I really was comfortable with. And that took a minute for me to just settle there. And get those checkups. I feel like the biggest things that we misstep on is not doing the visits, not taking care of our health, because we can get so busy and we're taking care of everybody else. And unfortunately, sometimes by the time we show up in a doctor's office, sometimes it's a little too late. One of the things that I used to do it every 5 years, not my visits. I do those annually, but I used to take inventory. Now I do it a little bit more frequently. Because the need is more frequent. And when I say take inventory, where are you career-wise? Where are you with your mental health? Where are you, just kind of just thinking about a couple things in my life, like just like you would do at a store, like what's expired, what has changed, I would encourage people to just stop and take inventory. I'm having to do it more frequently now because I feel like my rate of change is different than when maybe it was 15 years ago. But just stopping and just doing a self-check. As you're doing your other checks, your other annual checks, just do a mental check, a spiritual check, a financial check. Just like, where are you? To make sure that we don't lose sight of these things as we're doing everything else in life. So
I wanted to add on to that real quick, because you mentioned something that's very important to me, Janae, regarding shopping around for medical care. And having recently retired almost 2 years ago, I didn't have that option when I was active duty. And I didn't always necessarily receive the best care. And I know there's a small segment or percentage of women who serve who may have that same experience as me. But I just want to let them know, if they're listening, don't give up. Advocate for yourself. Even if you are forced to see military providers who may not meet the standard of care for you, fight for referrals, fight for ways that you can see someone else and get second opinions. Because there are people out there who've been misdiagnosed, who've struggled, within that construct of not being able to seek care outside of what they're forced to have in those situations. So yeah, don't lose hope.
So as we were like thinking about the challenges of the changes, right, in life that perimenopause bring into women, and not just women, as we talked earlier, even our husbands. I just finished this devotional yesterday. It's Jackie Hill Perry, which I love her, Upon Waking. And I mean, this was like so timely. And I just wanted to read a piece of it. It's not long, I promise. She says, the true God, creator of everything that is made, is merciful still. He knows that everything besides him is but sand. It moves, changes, is fluid like oceans, mutable like ourselves, which is to say, none of it is secure. Not the job, the family, the fame, the status, the body, our bodies. None of it is as solid as it seems. This is why we can't build on it and expect anything more than instability. I mean, and she goes on, and at the end she says, when the morning comes, sing it out loud. When the evening arrives, do it again. Remember the rock. Only in Christ will you not be moved. So it reminded me, like, our lives, or even going through these changes in life, is like sinking sand beneath our feet. And if we are not holding on to the rock, we might feel like we're sinking. So I thought, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so like timely for what we're gonna talk about tomorrow. So I figured I'm gonna bring it up.
Thank you.
that was sweet, Odalis. Thank you.
Yes,
That was
thank
really good.
you. A nice reminder.
Yes.
A nice reminder. All right. Well, ladies, thank you. I want to thank everyone, each and every one of you, for being so vulnerable, sharing what's going on, and trying to just open up the lines of communication with our loved ones and those who are watching. It's important. It's okay to take care of ourselves. It's okay to love ourselves. There's no guilt in that. Remember who we are. We are His. We are chosen. We are loved. We are His masterpiece. So let's take care of these bodies that He gave us. So thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time. Please drop us a comment. Let us know what you thought about this. Let us know if there's anything you would like for us to talk about in the future. We'll see if it's aligned with God's will when we consider it. So thank you so much, and subscribe. Please subscribe. It was great. Take care, friends.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.